You know that feeling when you're standing in the supplement aisle, just staring at that massive wall of fish oil bottles?
Oh, yeah, it is completely overwhelming.
Right, and you just feel this profound sense of frustration. So you grab a generic bottle that loudly advertises, like 1,000 milligrams of omega-3.
Sounds great on paper, right?
Exactly. And you diligently take it for a month, and then, well, you feel absolutely nothing.
Not a single change?
Nothing changes. And the reason why isn't because your body doesn't need omega-3s. It's because the front label on those bottles is, it's all after this carefully crafted marketing illusion.
It really is an industry that thrives on a very specific kind of optical illusion. I mean, you look at the big, bold numbers on the front and assume you're doing something profound for your health.
Yeah.
But the biological reality inside that gelatin capsule is often just worlds apart from the promise printed on the plastic.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to me, buying generic fish oil feels a lot like opening a brand new family-sized bag of potato chips.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Like you pull it off the shelf thinking you're getting this massive amount of food, then you pop it open, look inside, and realize it's mostly just air.
Just an empty bag, basically.
Yeah, and when you flip a budget fish oil bottle over to read the actual nutrition facts, those 1,000 milligrams are usually just cheap filler oil. The amount of the active ingredients your brain actually uses is shockingly low.
Which is exactly why we're focusing our deep dive today on a very different approach.
Yes.
We are looking at a comprehensive review of BrainMD Omega-3 Power. Our goal is to look past all that marketing hype, right?
That's right through it.
Exactly, to determine if a highly concentrated, premium-priced product actually justifies its cost. I mean, is it worth it, or is it just another shiny bottle?
Right.
To understand this product, we really have to look at where it came from. Because BrainMD wasn't spun up by some marketing firm looking for a new revenue stream.
No, it has a totally different pedigree.
It does. It was founded by Dr. Daniel Amen, who is a double board-certified psychiatrist and neuroscientist.
So we aren't just looking at, like, a generic white label supplement formulated for a grocery store shelf.
No, not at all. This formulation was built specifically for his psychiatric clinics.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it has been used in a clinical setting for over a decade. The design priority was neurological impact first, commercial viability second.
And that clinical background completely reframes how we need to look at the ingredients here.
It changes everything.
Because when a doctor formulates something for cognitive function, they are aiming for a clinical dose. And that is vastly different from a token dose.
Right, a token dose being where a company just sprinkles in enough of an active ingredient to legally print it on the label.
Exactly, but it's biologically useless once you swallow it. But BrainMD Omega-3 Power delivers a massive 1,600 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA in a single 2 soft gel serving.
And those two acronyms, I mean, they are essentially the entire ball game when it comes to brain health.
Yeah, let's break them down. First up is EPA, coming in at 860 milligrams. Now, I've seen EPA described as the mood and heart molecule, but what is it actually doing in there?
So EPA stands for eicosapentaenoic acid.
Say that 3 times fast.
I know, right? It's a long-chain fatty acid, but you can really think of it as a master signaling molecule. When it enters your system, your body uses it to produce things called eicosanoids.
I have to admit, eicosanoids sounds like an alien species from a sci-fi movie.
It totally does. But they are actually local hormones that dictate your body's inflammatory response.
So they manage the inflammation.
Exactly. They are the chemical messengers telling your immune system and your cardiovascular system to cool down, to stop overreacting.
And in terms of the brain, calming that inflammation is crucial for mood, right?
It is the absolute foundation of it.
Right.
Chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body frequently translates to brain fog, irritability, and poor emotional regulation.
Yeah.
The research consistently links high circulating levels of EPA to improved mood stability.
So delivering 860 milligrams isn't just like a daily vitamin top-off.
No, it is a therapeutic dose. It's designed to actively push back against that inflammation.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because on the flip side, we have DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, coming in at 580 milligrams.
Right.
If EPA is managing the signals and acting like the traffic cops for inflammation, DHA is the actual physical hardware, like the asphalt on the road.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, the NIH points out that DHA makes up a massive portion of the brain's gray matter. It's the raw material your body uses to build and maintain synapses, which are the physical connections between your nerve cells.
To visualize this, just imagine your brain as a highly complex computer network.
Okay, I'm with you.
DHA is the actual physical hardware. It's the silicon chips, the fiber optic cables, the structural components that allow rapid data transfer. And if those cables degrade, memory and learning suffer. EPA, on the other hand, is like the cooling system in the firewall. It manages the operating environment so the hardware doesn't overheat from inflammation. You literally need both.
I love that network analogy. But looking at the label, BrainMD uses a very specific 1.5 to 1 ratio of EPA to DHA.
Yes, they do.
And I'm looking at these numbers and wondering, why does the exact math matter so much? I mean, wouldn't any combination of hardware and cooling systems be better than nothing? Are we overcomplicating this?
What's fascinating here is that the scientific community used to think exactly that. Just take omega-3s and whatever ratio you can get.
Right, just get them in your system.
Exactly. But as the clinical data matured, organizations like Harvard Health began specifically recommending formulas that lean heavier on EPA than DHA for cognitive and emotional benefits.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The 1.5 to 1 ratio mimics the optimal balance found in nature, but it specifically calibrates it to give your brain enough structural support while prioritizing the active, mood-regulating, anti-inflammatory power of EPA.
Okay, so you have this pristine, perfectly ratioed oil. The hardware and the cooling system are totally dialed in.
Perfect on paper.
Right. But all of that highly calibrated science is completely useless if your body just flushes it out to the toilet.
Exactly.
Or worse, if the oil you were swallowing is carrying a bunch of industrial garbage with it. So let's talk about the absorption impurity problem.
This is huge.
Because on the absorption front, BrainMD uses the natural triglyceride form of fish oil. Budget brands almost always use something called ethyl ester.
Yes, they do.
And when I read ethyl ester, my eyes kind of glazed over. So what does this all mean? What is the actual biological difference here?
This is perhaps the most important distinction in the entire supplement aisle.
Really?
Yes. To get high concentrations of EPA and DHA out of a fish, budget manufacturers use a cheap chemical shortcut.
Okay.
They strip away the natural glycerol backbone that holds the fatty acids together, and they replace it with an ethanol molecule.
Wait, ethanol? Like alcohol?
Yes, like alcohol. That creates an ethyl ester. It allows them to highly concentrate the oil very cheaply.
But there's a catch, I assume.
A huge catch. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the problem is that your digestive system, specifically the enzymes called lipases that bring down fats, they don't recognize this synthetic structure very well.
Wow, man.
When an ethyl ester hits your gut, your body has to work incredibly hard to cleave off that ethanol molecule.
So it's fighting the supplement.
Exactly. Then, to actually absorb the fatty acid, your body has to go scavenge a natural glycerol molecule from somewhere else in your system to rebuild it into a triglyceride.
That sounds exhausting.
It is a slow, inefficient, exhausting process.
So you swallow 1,000 milligrams of cheap ethyl ester fish oil, and your body's basically looking at it like a foreign object, trying to reassemble it before it passes through your digestive tract.
Precisely, and you end up absorbing a fraction of what was in the capsule.
Wow.
Now, the triglyceride form, which BrainMD uses, is how these fats naturally exist in whole fish.
And your body just gets it.
Yes, your digestive enzymes recognize it instantly. They process it seamlessly. Clinical studies show that triglyceride fish oils are absorbed up to 70% better than ethyl esters.
70% better. That's massive.
It is. You aren't just swallowing 1,600 milligrams. Your body is actually utilizing them.
That brings a whole new meaning to you get what you pay for. It isn't just about what's in the pill. It's about what actually makes it into your bloodstream.
Exactly.
And speaking of what makes it into your bloodstream, the purity testing on this product honestly kind of shocked me.
The sourcing is really rigorous.
Yeah, the review notes, they use pelagic, open water, short-lived fish, specifically anchovies and sardines.
Right.
Then they test it in a GMP-certified facility for over 250 environmental contaminants. We are talking PCBs, dioxins, furans. Hold on, why are we testing fish oil for industrial chemicals? And what even are those?
Well, it's a really sad reality of our modern oceans. Polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, and dioxins are highly toxic byproducts of industrial manufacturing.
And they end up in the water.
They do. And the critical thing to know is that they are fat soluble. They don't just wash away, they bind to fat.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, so when a small fish eats contaminated plankton, it stores those toxins in its fat. When a bigger fish eats 1,000 small fish, It bioaccumulates all of their toxins.
It just multiplies up the chain.
Exactly. By the time you get to a massive predator fish, its fat is absolutely loaded with industrial waste.
And fish oil is literally 100% extracted fat.
Precisely. If you extract oil from a highly contaminated fish and concentrate it into a pill, you are simultaneously concentrating the ocean's pollution.
That is horrifying.
That is why sourcing from anchovies and sardines is so vital. They are at the very bottom of the food chain and only live a short time, so they have almost zero time to accumulate toxins.
But they still test it for 250 contaminants anyway.
Yep, just to be sure.
And they do it in a GMP-certified facility. For anyone who isn't familiar with that acronym, GMP stands for Good Manufacturing Practice. It basically means the facility is held to rigorous pharmaceutical-level standards by regulatory bodies.
Right. They aren't just mixing this up in a bathtub. The extensive testing ensures that you are getting pure omega-3s, not a microdose of heavy metals or industrial coolants every morning.
Which naturally leads us to a very practical, everyday benefit of this rigorous processing. It solves the dreaded fishy burp.
Oh, the worst.
That has to be the #1 reason people buy omega-3s, take it for 3 days, and then just throw the bottle in the trash.
Really?
BrainMD uses natural citrus flavoring, but more importantly, they use advanced freshness technology to prevent the oil from oxidizing. Because as the review explains, that awful, rotting pier aftertaste isn't just a quirk of fish oil. It is the literal taste of rancid, oxidized fat.
Yeah, fresh, high-quality fish oil shouldn't taste or smell like a decaying fish market. Right. If your supplement gives you rank burps, the oil has oxidized, meaning its chemical structure has degraded, and it's practically useless to your body anyway.
Good to know. If it tastes terrible, it probably is terrible.
Exactly.
But we do need to look at the cons of the BrainMD product, to keep things balanced. The review does note a few hurdles.
Sure, it's not perfect for everyone.
First, it is significantly more expensive than standard drugstore brands. Second, because they pack 1,600 milligrams of active oil into a single serving, the sauce gels themselves are quite large.
Yeah, they're big.
If you struggle swallowing pills, that's a real factor. And lastly, because it's sourced from marine life, it is obviously a non-starter for vegans.
Those are completely valid criticisms. It is a premium, clinical-grade product, and the physical reality of putting that much raw material into a capsule means it's going to be bulky.
So the science on paper is incredibly impressive. We've got the triglyceride form, the massive dose, the anchovy sourcing, but let's look at the customer data.
The real-world application.
Exactly. How does this actually translate to everyday people living their lives? Reviewers across multiple platforms like iHerb, Walmart, and BrainMD's own site, they report a slew of positive effects.
Things you'd expect, right?
Yeah, like improved focus during the workday, better workout recovery, and noticeable changes in skin and hair health. But there was one standout review that really stopped me.
Oh, the parent with the teenager.
Yes. A parent gave this supplement to their teenager specifically to help with mood and focus. And the parent noted that after a few weeks, their teenager became noticeably less angry, less confused, and just generally more open to having a conversation.
It's amazing.
I have to say, it sounds almost too good to be true that a simple fat supplement could noticeably impact something as intense and complicated as teenage angst.
Well, if we view mood purely as a psychological issue, it does sound like magic.
Right.
But if we connect this to the biology we just discussed, it makes perfect sense. Think about a teenager. Their brain is going through a massive, chaotic restructuring phase.
It's under heavy construction.
Exactly. They are building new neural pathways at an incredible rate. Now imagine they're trying to build that highly complex computer network without any hardware or cooling systems.
Wow, okay.
They aren't eating anchovies or salmon. Their diet likely lacks these raw materials entirely.
So their brain is essentially trying to construct new emotional regulation centers out of cheap dietary fats that just don't do the job.
Yes. The structural integrity of their cell membranes is completely compromised. The receptors that are supposed to catch neurotransmitters like serotonin or dopamine, they just don't function as efficiently.
That makes so much sense.
By supplying a clinical dose of EPA and DHA, you aren't curing angst with a magic pill. You are simply giving a rapidly developing brain the biological building blocks it needs to function at a baseline level. You're giving the cell membranes the flexibility they need to communicate.
Giving them the biological foundation, that is such a powerful way to frame it.
Yeah.
Now, the reviews did have some constructive criticism, and I want to highlight the most common complaint.
Let's hear it.
Aside from the physical size of the capsules, which one clever user solved by just taking them one at a time with a huge glass of water.
Yeah.
The biggest issue people had was the slow onset of results. People are taking this for a week and saying, hey, why am I not a genius yet? Why am I still cranky?
This is where understanding the mechanism of action is so important. Omega-3s are not stimulants.
Right. It's not a cup of coffee.
Exactly. They aren't like caffeine where it hits your bloodstream and alters your chemistry in 20 minutes. These are structural fats.
Structural.
When you swallow that pill, your body has to digest it, transport it, and literally swap out the old stiff fats in your cell walls for these new flexible omega-3s. That physical cellular turnover takes time.
So you are literally rebuilding the walls of your cells one by one.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The scientific consensus is that it requires a minimum of 4 to 12 weeks of consistent use to physically integrate enough of these fats into your brain tissue to see significant, measurable improvements in cognitive function and emotional balance.
Patience is mandatory then. So based on all of this data, who is this product actually for? If you are actively prioritizing your brain health, if generic brands have let you down in the past, or if you're a parent trying to support a developing teen, this seems right in your wheelhouse.
For sure.
But the review is clear about who it is not for. Skip this if you're on a very tight budget, if you are strictly vegan, or, and this is a big caveat, if you already eat fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, sardines, or mackerel 3 or 4 times a week.
That's a crucial point. Supplements are defined by their name. They are meant to supplement a dietary deficiency.
Right.
If your diet is naturally rich in these specific pelagic fish, your cellular membranes are likely already saturated with EPA and DHA. Your money would definitely be better spent elsewhere.
Let's talk logistics. If someone listening fits the target profile and wants to try this, what are the brass tacks?
Let's get into it.
Price-wise, you're looking at roughly $35 to $45 for a 30-day supply, which is a 60 soft gel bottle. It's available on iHerb and Walmart. But the review notes that buying directly from BrainMD usually unlocks the best subscription discounts and return policies. The standard dosage is 2 soft gels daily. But there is a massive red flag warning in the instructions.
Oh, this is so important.
It says you must take it with a meal containing fat to improve absorption. So let me ask you this plainly. If someone wakes up, grabs these 2 premium capsules, and swallows them with just a glass of tap water on an empty stomach,
You're wasting it.
are they throwing their money away?
They are severely limiting their return on investment, yes.
Wow, why?
Because dietary fat acts as the biological trigger for digestion. When you eat a meal with fat, say an egg or some avocado, your gallbladder gets the signal to release bile, and your pancreas releases lipases.
Okay, the digestive machinery wakes up.
Exactly. This machinery is specifically designed to break down and absorb lipids. If you take fish oil on a completely empty stomach with water, that machinery stays dormant. A significant portion of that expensive premium triglyceride oil will simply pass straight through your gastrointestinal tract unabsorbed.
Wow. Note to self. Always take it with food. Do not waste the anchovies.
Please don't.
And for kids, the math is slightly different. It's 1 soft gel per 40 pounds of body weight. Earlier, we talked about the slow 4 to 12 weeks cellular turnover. The review mentions you can actually track this progress objectively using an omega-3 index blood test. How does that work?
This is incredible for people who want hard empirical data rather than just relying on how they feel.
I love data.
An omega-3 index test measures the percentage of EPA and DHA in the membranes of your red blood cells. Red blood cells are an excellent proxy for brain tissue.
Oh, interesting.
If you test yourself before starting, and then test again after 3 months, you will see a measurable statistical increase in your cellular composition. It proves the structural change is happening.
I love that you can actually verify the investment. We should also quickly cover the vegan alternative.
Yeah.
Since BrainMD uses marine life, what is the option for the plant-based crowd?
BrainMD produces a vegan omega-3 power. It's sourced directly from marine algae, which, fun fact, is actually where the fish get their omega-3s from in the first place.
Oh, of course. Cut out the middleman, or the middle fish, I guess.
Exactly. The vegan version delivers 700 milligrams of EPA and 300 milligrams of DHA, which the review notes still vastly outperforms the vast majority of plant-based products on the market.
That is a very solid dose for an algae supplement. Finally, regarding side effects, the review states it's generally very well tolerated. High doses might cause some loose stools, but the advanced freshness tech eliminates the burps. However, there is a standard but very real medical warning here.
Yes, pay attention to this one.
If you are on prescription blood thinners or have a severe fish or shellfish allergy, you have to talk to your doctor first.
Omega-3 fatty acids naturally reduce blood platelet aggregation.
Which means
It's just a fancy way of saying they have a mild blood thinning effect. For the average person, that's fantastic for cardiovascular health. But if you're already taking pharmaceutical anticoagulants, adding high-dose fish oil could compound that effect to a dangerous degree.
good to know.
Always consult a physician.
All right, we've broken down the clinical dosages, the triglyceride biochemistry, the extreme purity testing, and the real-world impact. It is time to deliver the final verdict on the core question of this deep dive. Is BrainMD Omega-3 Power genuinely worth the premium price tag?
The big question.
Based on this comprehensive review, the answer is a definitive yes. It is exceptionally well made and entirely defensible at its price point. When you stack up the 1,600 milligram clinical dose, the highly absorbable triglyceride form, and the pharmaceutical-grade screening for industrial toxins, it leaves budget ethyl ester brands in the dust.
Absolutely.
Even against a heavy-hitter competitor like Nordic Natural's Ultimate Omega, which offers roughly 1,280 milligrams per serving, BrainMD wins on pure, raw potency.
You know, reviewing a product like this really forces us to reevaluate how we view our personal health budgets.
It does.
It is incredibly tempting to look at a $15 bottle of generic fish oil and a $40 bottle of premium fish oil and grab the cheaper option because it feels like a victory.
Oh, I've been there. You feel like you're saving money.
Right. But this raises an important question. Is it really a bargain to spend $15 on a synthetic ethyl ester that your digestive system rejects at a dose so incredibly low that it cannot physically impact your cellular structure?
Not at all.
Or is it a smarter investment to spend $40 on a natural triglyceride formula that actually enters your bloodstream, integrates into your cell membranes, and genuinely alters your biological makeup?
When you put it like that, it's obvious.
In the supplement world, cheap is often the most expensive choice you can make because you are paying for zero results.
Zero results for $15 is an abysmal return on investment. And that perspective leads me to a final, somewhat provocative thought I want to leave you with today.
Oh, lay it on us.
Throughout this deep dive, we've talked about how our brains are quite literally constructed from the fats we consume. We've seen how a lack of DHA and EPA can leave a teenager's brain struggling to build emotional regulation pathways, leading to increased angst and confusion.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
So it makes you wonder, how much of what we consider to be our fundamental personality, our daily moods, or even our character flaws is actually just a direct reflection of our cellular nutrition?
Wow. That completely reframes human behavior.
Doesn't it?
Viewing our emotional states and our mental endurance through the lens of cellular biology, it changes how we approach self-care. It moves it from a psychological issue to a structural one.
Exactly. Are we really just irritable, short-tempered people today? Or is our brain simply screaming for the physical hardware and the cooling systems it desperately needs to function?
That's a huge question to ponder.
So the next time you find yourself frustrated by a lack of focus, a dip in your mood, or just general brain fog, I encourage you to stop and think about what raw materials you are using to build your brain today. Make sure you aren't just buying the biological equivalent of a bag of air for your most important organ. Take a hard look at the ingredients, demand a clinical dose, and whatever you do, don't settle for the marketing illusion on the front of the bottle. That's all for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.